Welcome back to Green is Good. This is the Go Green edition of Green is Good, and we're so honored to be here in downtown Seattle at this amazing Go Green conference. And today we've got Brenna Davis. She's the Director of Sustainability of Virginia Mason. Welcome back to Green is Good.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you on. We don't get to talk enough on this show about sustainability and healthcare. So to have Virginia Mason on and to have you, Brenna, on talking about sustainability and healthcare is really important today for our audience members. But before we get talking about that, I wanted you to talk about Brenna Davis a little bit. You haven't been on the show yet, so this is your first turn on Green is Good. You know, talk a little bit about, like, where did green start becoming part of your life? Your upbringing, college, high school, who turned you on to this whole sustainability thing?
Oh, thank you, yeah. Well, I've been doing sustainability work for about 20 years.
Wow.
And I got started in I was raised in the Pacific Northwest. My family's from here, and I spent a lot of time in the forest and in the parks in Seattle, and I really loved nature. And because of that, I was more interested in studying on the environment.
Really?
And I went and got a degree in environmental science from Huxley College of the Environment, which was actually one of the first environmental colleges in the country.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. I had great mentors there, and my first job right out of school, I worked in my field, and I've been doing that for about 20 years.
So you really had it a part of your, DNA growing up, because you grew up in this area and you were enjoying and really appreciating the outdoors a lot.
I did, and I had a lot of mentors growing up. My family really loved the outdoors. My grandfather was an avid fisherman. Both of my grandfathers were avid fishermen. I guess you can't be in the Northwest and not be, but so I was around nature and with my entire childhood, and it really did inspire me to want to protect it for future generations, and so that nature can be there for my nieces and nephews and those that are coming.
You can leave the world a better place.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so we're here today in this beautiful city of Seattle, very sustainable, one of the hubs of innovation in this whole country. You are the Director of Sustainability at Virginia Mason. Why has Virginia Mason chosen to be very involved today at this great conference?
Oh, thanks. Well, Virginia Mason views sustainability as just integrated into everything we do, because human health is so linked to the environment. If we don't have a healthy planet, we can't have healthy people.
Great point. Great point.
Thank you. So it's really our mission to figure out how can we reduce our environmental impact, and beyond that, inspire the healthcare organization or healthcare as an industry to do more.
And your organization is one of the sponsors here today.
Yes.
And your boss was on a panel today?
Yes, she was great. Yes, Kateri Chapman. She's our senior vice president, and she's a hospital administrator at Virginia Mason. And she's actually a microbiologist, which is how she got into her field. She's amazing, smart woman.
And what was the panel speaking to today? What was their topic?
Their topic was on the Washington Climate Declaration, the Washington Business Climate Declaration. And the Climate Declaration was a call for business to get engaged on climate. And Virginia Mason led that call. I chaired that group. It's called Washington Businesses for Climate Action. We put the climate declaration together based on Ceres' existing climate pledge and made it sort of more specific to Washington State. Then we went out and recruited businesses to sign on to this declaration calling for action on climate. And when we rolled it out, we had 100 businesses. Now we have over 180 businesses signed on to call for action on climate in Washington State.
That's so great. So although climate change is this big global issue, you've made it very local in your call to action.
We did, because we felt like Seattle and Washington State, we have such a culture of innovation and we have such a pioneering spirit that sometimes we need our own declaration, our own thing, so that we can feel that we own it a little bit more, and that it reflects the culture here.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And for our audience members out there, to see what Brenna and her colleagues are doing at Virginia Mason, you can find them at virginiamason.org. Virginia Mason, Mason spelled MASON.org. So let's talk a little bit about Virginia Mason. What is the mission? And it's a .org. What does Virginia Mason do in sustainability and healthcare?
Well, Virginia Mason is a healthcare system.
Okay.
We have a large hospital in downtown, and then we have 7 regional medical centers around the region. And so we're really focused on providing the highest quality healthcare, and we are award-winning in terms of our quality. We were the first healthcare organization to adapt the Toyota production system into our work, so that we could ensure that there's the highest quality. Just like you expect the highest quality car, why wouldn't you expect the highest quality healthcare? And so, so that's part of our that's a huge how we make all of our decisions in our culture. And so so we do that. We also have a Virginia Mason Institute, which is teaches the Virginia Mason production system and how to integrate quality work into your day-to-day operations.
Talk a little bit about that. What does that mean, that system, that Toyota system that you mentioned?
Well, so when you think about how Toyota made cars, they used a production system to identify areas of waste.
Yeah.
And you just say you're making a part and you don't need to do these extra steps, or you don't need to move this part here, and it takes extra time or money. So our CEO, Dr. Gary Kaplan, and the senior leadership decided in 2002 to use this production system for healthcare. So now we use it, for example, like if you're a cancer patient. In the past, maybe 4 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, I don't know when, but in the past, if you were a cancer patient and you came in, we measured and we found out you had to walk something like 2,000 steps. So you have to come in, then go to the doctor, go to the radiologist, go somewhere else. And so we were asking our sickest patients to walk something like a mile to get their care. So using the production system, we identified all this waste in movement and the waste in walking. And we used this system to just change the way we did things so that it was centered on the patient. So now the patient comes in, they sit down, and everyone comes to them.
Oh my
and
gosh.
if you were there as a cancer patient, I mean, that's a big benefit, is that everything comes to you and you don't, it's patient-centered. And so with same thing with sustainability, we use our production system to identify waste, to implement green ideas, if people bring new green ideas, to measure them so that we can understand what's the actual impact of this idea. And if it's successful, let's spread it across the organization and use that idea.
Just so our listeners and our audience can get a little bit of a feel, how many beds or how many patients does Virginia Mason service?
We have 295 licensed beds. I'm not sure, or at the moment, but then we have about 326 beds total.
Wow.
So at any time, it's around 300 beds. And I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers in front of me for today,
but that's
it's
just
around 300
idea.
beds.
Right.
Yeah.
So and so you're one of the big healthcare providers here in Seattle, in the Seattle region. So sustainability in healthcare, how long have you been the Director of Sustainability at Virginia Mason?
About 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Was there a Director of Sustainability before you?
No.
So this was a new position.
Yes.
You truly are a pioneer at Virginia Mason, which is probably, if I was to guess, one of the leading healthcare agencies in America who have integrated sustainability in healthcare.
That's right.
So let's talk about all the opportunities. Now you're not a rookie anymore, but now you see how much can be done.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit what you've accomplished in those 2 years in sustainability in healthcare, but talk a little bit also about the future, if you don't mind, Brenna, on how big the universe can really be when it comes to healthcare and sustainability.
Sure. Well, I can give you some highlights. Before I arrived, we already had a culture of sustainability.
Okay.
And it just wasn't as organized as our senior leadership wanted to be, and they saw there was more interest in it, and they saw the value of it, and so they created my position and brought me on. What's interesting about and very cool about Virginia Mason is they started their electrical or energy efficiency work in the 90s, and they've been working on it ever since then. And so we're saving so much energy, and you can look more on the website, but we're saving we're saving 6 million gallons of water every year just from the work we're doing and trying to eliminate waste.
So saving water is another one of our biggest issues.
I know, especially California.
California and even around the globe, though.
Yes, around the globe.
So you're saving water in terms of, and then you're saving energy.
Yes.
Great. So, and then obviously you've also made the great case about patient care.
Yeah, that's
Less steps, bring the care to the patients, not make the patients go to the care.
Yes.
So, what other things have you gotten under your umbrella?
Yeah, so we've been working on water, we're working on waste. We've decided that 80% of the landscaping that we plant on our campus is native, or native plants are pollinator friendly to reduce water and create habitat for plants and pollinators, which we're really passionate about. We do food. 36% of our food is all local and sustainable that we serve, and we've been working on expanding that and doing more from scratch cooking and just innovating that whole side of it so that hospital food food is delicious and local and sustainable.
I want to come back to that. I just want to give a shout out to our audience members that just joined us. We're so excited to have Brenna Davis with us. She's the Director of Sustainability at Virginia Mason. And to learn more about Virginia Mason, it's virginiamason.org. It's a healthcare agency here in Seattle. In Seattle today is where we are at Green is Good. This is the Go Green edition. And to learn more about Go Green, go to gogreenconference.net. October 6th in Portland. You can buy tickets to come to that conference. It's an amazing conference. We're so honored to be here. Let's go back. I'm a vegan. Last night,
are you a vegan?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah,
I just ate a vegan meal. It's delicious.
And I had a vegan meal last night in your great city here in Seattle. You know, most of us are, have tied healthcare and hospitals with the ubiquitous, horrible food, unfortunately. Talk a little bit about the importance of nourishing your patients, and as you just said, you're sourcing some of the food locally. Is some of the food also then being, like you just said, made from scratch? And is it being are we taking more nutritional elements into it and healthcare elements that we know now are true plant-based food and other opportunities to your to organic products to your patients?
Yes, Virginia Mason is working. We're part of the Healthier Hospitals Initiative. We partnered with them on a challenge. It's a Healthier Hospitals Challenge that we've implemented on our food nutrition side. And so we have expanded organic. We serve organic and local whenever possible, whenever in season. Yeah, it is great. And then we recently, we're moving towards buying more, I know you're vegan, but we're moving towards buying antibiotic-free meats. And we're doing more and more of that. And then we just recently were certified. We were the first self-operated hospital in the world to be certified by MSC, the Marine Stewardship Council, to serve Marine Stewardship Council fish.
Wow.
So we serve fish that's that's captured sustainably and from healthy fish stocks. And then we do hormone-free, dairy. We do, cage-free eggs.
So you've taken food as a very important initiative in the ecosystem of how you treat your patients.
Absolutely, because nutrition and the health, health is so tied to nutrition and the food that we eat. And so we had the idea of how can we just eliminate as much as we can sugary sodas, get the sugar out of our cafeterias, and we're transitioning to eliminating fried foods. I mean, we take it very seriously, and we want it to be delicious, so people want to eat it.
Right,
so we have an amazing chef, Brian Brooks. He came out of he's just a trained chef, and he used to own a place called Hunger. His wife is an amazing chef too, and so anyway, he does all of our cooking now, and he's working really hard to transition into it so that the food is healthy, it's sustainable, and it's delicious.
That is just wonderful. Talk a little bit about other initiatives that you're working on at Virginia Mason.
Well, climate change is a huge one that we've been really leading on in the industry. Climate change, as Kateri shared, is a major human health concern of the CDC and the World Health Organization, the Obama administration, and the Health and Human Services. They're all so concerned about it, and you probably know that the Surgeon General recently came out with a Twitter chat on climate and health, and that was amazing. We've been partnering with the Healthier Hospitals Initiative on a national level to basically expand the involvement of healthcare on climate. So we're part of the Healthcare Climate Council, it's called.
Share what that is, and share also for our audience members what Healthier Hospitals are.
Healthier Hospitals Initiative, and it's an initiative by a group of hospital leaders to reduce the environmental impact of hospitals and the healthcare system. And so we're part of that, and
How
we've been
big
partnering
is it
with them. It's international,
really?
at this point.
So hundreds of hospitals are part of it.
Yeah, but the Climate Council started out. We were invited to join very early on by a group, Healthcare Without Harm, which kind of created the Healthier Hospitals Initiative. There was only 8 hospitals or 8 health systems engaged. We were invited to participate, and it's continuing to grow. We were invited to go meet with the Obama administration, so I went to the White House and met with the president's staff, with John Podesta, and some of his cabinet members, and Health and Human Services Secretary Burwell, and basically looking at how can we create healthcare organizations that are resilient to climate change and that are ready when climate change impacts come down the pipe. When we start to we're already feeling them, but when we really start, the pain starts coming.
Right.
And the people at the table had experienced Hurricane Isaac, Katrina, Sandy, and they'd seen healthcare organizations just be crippled. I mean, they were just decimated because of these storms. And so the idea was, how can we deal with this as a climate resilience issue, so that we can be centers of climate excellence as healthcare organizations, so that our communities can come to us when they need us the most, and making sure that we're available and that care is available to the community.
That is so amazing. So what other things are you working on?
You know, in my dreams, we would. One of the things I would really like to do is to eliminate bottled water, and we're in the process of that. It's been a process, so that's one of the things I'd like to work on.
And you mentioned earlier at the top of the show, Brenna, that your CEO got the Toyota principles implemented. You know, talk a little bit about some of the pain points that exist for patients when they go into a hospital. I know most patients always complain about constantly being woken up, or light or excessive light and noise. Are some of those things part of your initiatives too, or some of the things you can possibly work on in the future? Noise reduction and light reduction for proper resting?
Yes, thank you. You make a very good point. And I have to say, I'm an environmental scientist, not a clinician, but we have implemented using the Toyota production system. We worked really hard on raising the patient satisfaction level in our hospitals, so that people, you know, when you're injured or you're trying to heal, you need that quiet.
Right.
You need that calming time to sleep and recover. And so we've been winning awards consistently on the patient experience and lowering the noise that happens. And the biggest source of sort of dissatisfaction with hospital stays is associated with who your roommate is. So if you get a bad roommate, so we're trying to working to shift that so that it's not as contingent on that.
That's so exciting.
But we don't know, but you know how it is.
Right.
Maybe you don't mesh with the guy, or But anyway.
Right. For audience members out there that are in healthcare, are there any resources you could share with them, or any points of inspiration in terms of how to green or make their healthcare agencies more sustainable?
Oh, absolutely. So the two major, most incredible organizations that I can to share with those folks is, first of all, the Practice Green Health. Practice Green Health is an organization that works on sustainability, integrating sustainability into our everyday work as healthcare, and you have to be a member. But I'll tell you, it's worth every penny, because their staff will help you integrate sustainability principles, and you can learn from other healthcare organizations, because healthcare is really at the beginning of this journey, and they're there to kind of help you run through it.
PracticeGreenHealth.org or something like that?
PracticeGreenHealth.org. Okay. Amazing people. Hermine is my facility person. She's amazing.
Okay.
And then also, I would say Healthcare Without Harm and Gary Cohen and Eric Lerner over there, two incredible people that are just passionate about reducing the impact of healthcare, environmental impact, and they're working on a global scale. They're getting ready to go to Paris, and we've been working with them on a global rollout of the 2020 Healthcare Challenge, which is basically we're one of 8 organizations globally to roll this out. There were Gunderson Health and Kaiser Permanente are friends there, and us, and then the British government and a Korean hospital, another one in South Africa. We all work together to roll out this global challenge. And Healthcare Without Harm really is working on climate change, and healthcare has such a unique voice on climate, because we have this moral authority. People trust us. We're in every community. We're focused on data, and so we're working hard to get healthcare to speak up and start being the leaders that we are on health and on health impacts of climate.
Healthcare
Without Harm.
.org?
Yeah.
Healthcarewithoutharm.org.
And it might be hcwh.org, so I apologize.
Okay, good. But if they type that into their search engine, they'll be able to. But
amazing people. Amazing.
And isn't that one of the credos of getting, even becoming a doctor or a medical practitioner? Do less harm.
Do no harm.
Do no harm.
Yep, and we take that seriously. We first do no harm includes harm to the environment, because when we harm the environment, we harm people.
2 last questions. Now, with you becoming Director of Sustainability at Virginia Mason, has this set off sort of a sustainability race? Are other hospital and healthcare organizations now putting that position in and really highlighting and making that role very important, Director of Sustainability?
Yeah, there aren't many directors of sustainability in healthcare, and that was a really decision by our senior leadership to make it a senior level position. And I hope, I hope there's a race. I've been working with, I started a group of healthcare sustainability professionals. We meet quarterly to talk and to support each other.
Right.
So we're pretty collaborative, even though we compete, but we're
that was my last question. Do you share
supportive.
best practices?
We do. We share, and I hope it creates competition. Or I hope that it creates more action on the part of other healthcare organizations. And if it did, that would be wonderful.
That's perfect.
And I'm so supportive of my colleagues.
We hope you come back on the show and share more of the journey and sustainability of Virginia Mason and in the healthcare industry. Brenna, thank you for your time today. For our listeners out there, we've had Brenna Davis on. She's the Director of Sustainability at Virginia Mason. To learn more about Virginia Mason and all the great healthcare practices they're using in sustainability and sustainability practices they're actually using in healthcare, go to virginiamason.org.
Thank you.
virginiamason.org. Brenna, you are an inspiring healthcare professional and also a sustainability superstar and truly living proof that green is good. Thank you very much for being with us today and sharing with our audience all that's going on at Virginia Mason.
Thank you, and thank you for your important work.
Thank you.
Yep.